Hello and welcome to another episode of the Classical Republican. Today we're talking about On the Duties of Man by Giuseppe Mazzini. Now, this was written over a long period of time, from 1844 to 1858. It was published in 1858, but he started working on it. He mentions one place where he says that he started writing that particular part 20 years before. So this is probably his magnum opus, his greatest work. So it's divided into several chapters, and we're going to discuss them little by little. These are my notes, and we're going to we're going to do a few videos on the duties of man. And women. He's talking about women too. We'll get to that later. All right. So he starts off by saying, I speak of duties. Chapter 1 is the introduction. I speak of duties before rights, even to the oppressed. And he says people have been promoting rights for 50 years, and it has not improved workers' conditions. Okay, this is the mid 19th century. He's writing about this. He says what are rights worth when people don't have the means to take advantage of those rights? And he's talking about not having education, not having the ability to engage in commerce. He says the first right is existence. Society has greater power, but not greater right. Education is how to build a better order. So, this is right in line with classical republicanism, that education is very important as far as improving society, but also creating equality, which creates stability, and you have a better society with all those things. He says not... he speaks out against violence, and this is a revolutionary, but he doesn't really believe in, that violence should be your first means of changing things. You need to be able to, make sure that your own house is in order before you try to change your whole country. You should live for others, and that this is your duty. Okay, and that's partially why you need to improve yourself, because you need to be able to help others. Food and shelter are not the ends, but the means by which you attain true consciousness of your dignity. Okay, so you don't exactly have a revolution just for food and shelter, but you need to be able to attain all of your dignity, and that goes with all the other things like education. You improve your material condition so you may improve yourself morally, virtuously, and educationally. So that's the end of chapter 1. Let's go to chapter 2. Chapter 2 is about God. He says God exists. Without God, you may compel, but you cannot persuade. You may become tyrants in your own turn. You cannot be educators or apostles. Okay, so yes, again, like going back to Machiavelli, I guess even Cicero, the importance of religion in republics. In chapter 3, it's about the law. And he says the error of organizing society based on individual rights. Again, he's talking about liberalism, classical liberalism, or opposite rights of society. Humanity is the sole interpreter of God's law on earth. Now, chapter 4 is on the duty toward humanity. And this is very important to for understanding Mazzini's ideas. And I guess you could say his international relations theory, I guess. So the first duty of everybody is toward humanity. We attain rational, social, and intellectual progress through association. Okay, association is a very important word here. Yeah, so association is going to come up again and again, and even in other writings. Life was given to you by God to employ it for the benefit of humanity. You're supposed to develop yourself to develop others. So again, helping others, and that's all about the the humanity of your aim, and the collective work of progress and truth. He says we are all brothers. It is the intention, but not power, that counts. Okay, so this might be counter to what Philip Pettit talks about. He is a consequentialist, and he believes that the most important thing to judge people is the consequences of their actions, rather than the intent. But Mazzini says, oh no, intent is very important. Chapter 5 is on your duty to your country. He says, our watchword is association and fraternal cooperation. He talks about the prayer of the mariner of Brittany. It says, quote, my boat is so small and thy ocean is so wide, end quote. So that's kind of, what associations, and he kind of recognizes nations as just very large associations that have a few particular characteristics, such as having the same language and maybe a similar heritage, culture, that type of thing. And so associations and nations can help us in that great big ocean to overcome and to guide us through to safety. Let's see. He says, so this is the same as the human condition until you multiply your force and action. The country is the workshop whose produce should benefit all humanity. A country is fortified by the power of millions speaking the same tongue, same tendencies, traditions, effort to benefit humanity. A true country is a community of free men and equals bound together in fraternal concord to labor toward a common aim. And so I believe that's that's a very important part of classical republicanism is the unity, like things like et pluribus unum, coming together for a common good. Let's see. Must combat privileges and inequality. Okay, so inequality. This goes back to Aristotle. Machiavelli also talks about how inequality is bad. Harrington talks about it. Laws should be the expression of all. The entire, and he gets a little vague here about, he never really comes out in favor of the mixed regime. He almost seems a little more Rousseauian, looking at the people as the ultimate sovereign and the ultimate legislator. He talks about it, but he's kind of vague. So the entire nation should either directly or indirectly legislate. Well, that's kind of a big, there's a big difference between that. So I don't know. Education, labor, and the franchise are the three pillars of the nation. And that's all we'll do for now. Next time we'll talk about chapter 6 and beyond. Until next time, long live the Republic.